Women in Print Alliance is dedicated to connecting, empowering, and advancing women in the print industry. As part of Printing United Alliance, we're fostering a more inclusive future through advocacy, education, and networking opportunities that connect women across the entire industry. Join us as an individual to grow your career, expand your network, and access exclusive resources, or enroll your entire organization to show your commitment to supporting women in print. Become a member today at womeninprintalliance.org and help us shape the future of print.
Welcome to Her Imprint, part of the Impressions Exchange. I'm Denise Gustafson, your host. This podcast celebrates the remarkable women who are transforming the printing industry. We'll explore their journeys, from challenges to triumphs, and share the stories that leave a lasting imprint. Today, I have with me Amanda Nicassio. She's the account executive with Dumont Printing. So, Amanda, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
It is a pleasure to have a chance to get to know you a little bit. To get us started, could you tell us a little bit about Dumont Printing?
Yeah. So Dumont has been around for 75 years. We are a local woman-owned company in the Central Valley of California. And we do a lot of different things and have branched out over the years as print has evolved, and everything from large commercial printing, wide format, promotional items, apparel, mailing, all the things.
All the things.
So
It's always interesting to me, like I talk with some folks and they're like, we do all the things. And then other people are like, no, we do this.
yeah. Well, I think that it's over the years as we've evolved and grown, we've gotten into so many different things just because it allows us to expand our services that we're offering to our clients anyways. And so we can be better partners. And when our clients come to us and they're like, hey, I would really love to get some signage from you. It's like, okay, great. Let's go do that. And then through that, we learn and we expand and then we figure out all these other things that we can do.
Yeah. I don't think I've met a printer that really wants to tell somebody, no, I can't help you.
Isn't that so fascinating? I think that this is the first industry that I've ever been in that's really like that. I think as printers, we have a hard time with the ideology of niching down. We're like, no, we'll do whatever you need us to do. What do you need? We'll figure it out. Absolutely.
If we need to drive bottles of water over to your facility or to your event, we will do that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, if you can dream something up and you don't know how to get it done, or you haven't even fully formed this idea in your head, call me. We'll talk it out. And then my team's you always have these crazy things. And I'm like, yeah, but you guys are so good at figuring it out. So look,
Of course. I'm going to keep pushing you until you cry uncle. Come on.
and they do. The amount of things that they come up with is just, it's awe-inspiring. So it makes it easy to be like, yeah, totally. We can do whatever you want.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you get started in print? Because I'm guessing it's not like you decided one day, hey, I'm going to be in print.
Yeah. No, I definitely did not plan to get into printing. It was not something I ever strove to. I actually started here as a temp from a temp agency. I was the receptionist
Okay.
for about 2 months and then very quickly moved into a new role.
So what were you doing before you started here?
A lot of different things. I bounced around and I sold insurance, health insurance and Medicare plans for a while randomly. I actually stayed home with my son right before I came to work here. I was a stay-at-home mom and
Okay.
just looking to get back into working again. He had started school, didn't need quite as much attention. I was just looking for something and this kind of fell into my lap. In fact, I wasn't even fully convinced that I was ready to go back to work. It was tossing the idea around in my head, like, yeah, sure, I'll go sign up with a temp agency. Maybe something will come of it. And 10 years later, here we are.
So what was it that made you stay?
I love this company. I really genuinely love it. So I have had jobs in the past where I loved the people that I worked with, but the work itself was soul draining. And then I've had jobs where I enjoyed the work and the people less.
They were okay.
Yeah, and they were okay. The thing I found here was that I enjoyed the work, and I love the people. And it really just fits me and the way that I am and the way that I operate. I think and to thrive in printing, you have to be able to thrive in a little bit of chaos. And
Or a
and
lot of chaos, depending upon the day.
yeah, more often than not, it's chaos. But I think the people that thrive in those environments do well. And I think that we have an incredible thing here at Dumont. It's a really special place to be. Our average tenure is over 25 years. Our longest serving employee has been here for over 40 years.
That's
He's
great.
the second employee that's been here for over 40 years. And I think that just speaks to what an incredible company it is that people are really happy to be here and we care about one another and we care about the work that we do. And it makes it easy to go to work. And I would tell people after I got hired, when new people would come on, I would tell them all the time, you have no idea, but you just won the lottery when you got this job because this is the best place to work.
That's high praise too, especially you were newer, you're coming in, and then the people coming in after you are like, "No, really, this is awesome."
Yes. No, it is, and I think that when you haven't experienced it, you don't know, right? But I think there's also an advantage of coming into a company that has a lot of long-term employees as an outsider to have the perspective of, "Hey, guys, no, actually, this is a really special place," and you can bring that new thought and new ideas to the table, which I've been able to do a lot. I've just always enjoyed my time here. It's never felt like work or like a drudge, like I don't wanna get up in the morning. I love it. I've always loved
Which is really awesome to say because I'm sure there's a lot of people in the industry, in any industries that are in the workforce that just absolutely dread getting up in the morning.
and, like, for me, in my perspective, life's too short. I don't wanna spend my time getting up going, "Ugh, I just don't wanna do it." I wanna come to work and enjoy what I'm doing, and sure, some days are hard, but overall, it's just such a positive experience.
Yeah, definitely. And sales is a unique role anyway to try to
It
figure
is.
out because in many cases it's high pressure. It's y- they- I don't think sales would be something that I could do, honestly. I'm going to admit that.
Yeah.
But women, I think, have even a harder path when they're talking about sales
Interesting. Yeah,
because I find that men are comfortable with being aggressive about things, about going after that
absolutely.
sale.
Yes,
But if women go and do the same type of things, it's sometimes not looked at the same way,
totally.
which I think makes
That's
it even more difficult.
I think it could, for sure. I've actually found that to be my superpower.
Oh, you have superpowers.
I do.
Okay, let's hear.
So I think being a woman, being so I haven't always been in sales, actually. I've only been in a sales position for just over a year.
Okay, but
But
you've done sales before. You sold insurance, right?
for a little bit, yeah, for a little bit. I always knew I wanted to get into sales just because I felt like that I could do it, and then there's some very obvious upside to being in sales,
There
right?
is.
But I certainly the path to get here has been long, and I think that so going back to being a female, being a woman salesperson, and why there's a superpower in that is because I approach what I do from a place of relationship and from a place of really nurturing that relationship that I think as a woman I'm more effective in doing. And I definitely feel like I can understand what a lot of the people that I'm dealing with are going through. Frankly, a lot of the people that I deal with are women, and the purchasing people and marketing people are women. And so I'm able to connect to them on a level. And also, I'm not a salesy person. I don't go in and do the dog and pony show. I'm like, I'm here to help. This is what I have to offer. And I think that the business portion just comes naturally when you treat people with kindness and respect and not like they're walking dollar signs. And so, yeah, that's where I feel like sometimes Not all men, certainly, but sometimes men can come across as and because they're more comfortable in that space of stepping in and being more aggressive about asking for the sale, and that works in some ways, it does, I'm sure, but for me, I have found that just putting people first and putting relationship first is really effective for me, and it's effective, but it also is who I wanna be as a person and not, "Hey, come buy this thing from me." You
Yes.
know?
I have a widget. You need a widget
Yeah,
because then it's more
exactly.
transactional too, in a way.
Totally, and I think different kinds of sales can be different. I think, print, it really is about the relationship. Of course, if someone's, "Hey, I need this flyer," yeah, totally, I'll help you with it, but that's not the value that I bring, right? That as a representative of Dumont Printing, what Dumont Printing brings to the table is a service of expertise, of knowledge, of helping you navigate through what could be very complicated things, and I lead with that, and the people who see the value in that, those are the people that I wanna work with, and the people who don't, they have someone else out there that'll be a better fit for them, and that's okay.
That's very adult.
Thank you. It's been an evolution in life for sure, but
Yeah, and honestly, I think with a lot of folks, the relationship selling is really where in in some ways, you hate to say that, but, like, the rubber meets the road. That's really where it starts to make a whole lot more of an impact. 'Cause
absolutely.
because it's more than just a, "Hey, I can do this banner for you," or you're trying to get to the, "What's the reason why we're doing this?
Exactly.
What is your end goal? What do you want to accomplish?" And it is definitely much better to have those conversations. Like you said, you can come up with those crazy ideas to get
Sure.
what you need.
And if I understand your goals and your purpose on a deeper level beyond just, "Hey, I need this flyer printed," then I'm better able to help you navigate that, right? And so ultimately, anybody who's printing anything, they're doing so for a purpose, and they're looking for some kind of ROI on, and if I can help you increase your ROI, then in turn, then you are going to have a more success, right? You
Mhm.
guys find success and we can work together. And because I am more attuned to your business and what you're doing, I can speak to the specific nuances of that and help you through that rather than just more broadly just taking orders, right?
Yeah. And honestly, there are people that's all they do. They just sit and they take orders all day.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely there
And
is.
I'm guessing those people might also be the people that really hate their job too.
Yeah, and I think that for a person such as me who enjoys people, the joy is in the relationship. So if I'm just sitting behind a computer and plugging away, taking orders, then that loses the joy for me. The joy is in interacting with people and going out and meeting with them and talking to them and understanding what they're dealing with and what they're going through on a business level, but oftentimes even on a personal level. I become friends with so many of the people that I work with because we just build that relationship.
And it goes hands in hand because then you understand where they're coming from. You understand a little bit about their background, their perspectives. So that way, when you are offering things, you have something to draw on that might be attractive to them too, because you know their background.
Exactly, and it really is a service, right? It comes from a place of serving their needs and being a good steward of their needs and what they're trying to accomplish.
Now, when it comes to you, like moving your career along, you said like you've only been in sales for a year or so right now, but
Mhm.
you started as an intern and you didn't know anything about printing when you came in. So, how did you get to where you are today? Were there
So,
mentorships? Was there education? What was that whole process for you?
it's been quite a trajectory. After I was a receptionist, they bought out my temp contract within 2 months, and I moved in to our promotional specialist role. And so I had never had any background in printing. I knew nothing about printing, but I'm a quick learner and I like to dive into things. And so I took on this role for a couple of years where I was doing all of the estimating, order writing, purchasing, dealing with vendors for promotional items, dealing with the salespeople. And then in 2018, we implemented a new ERP system. And that was a rough time in the company, as
I was
anyone
gonna
who's
s
ever
I was gonna say that could go
been.
either good or bad depending upon, because I've heard some horror stories about getting those
Yeah.
implemented. Some go through pretty smoothly, but it all depends.
Yeah, it was smooth is not the word I would use, to say the least. It was a rough time, but through that, again, I'm a person who likes to dig and figure things out, and after the implementation had gone a little poorly and we were looking to pivot, I was just trying to figure out how to do my portion of my job, and so I'm a millennial, I can Google with the best of them. Find me a help menu, I can figure anything out.
Find me a YouTube video and I can figure it out, right?
Absolutely. There's nothing I can't do if I can find a YouTube video on it. I just started digging in and figuring things out, and I built out the wide format section of the ERP system because at that point I was also had begun estimating and order writing for wide format as well. And then Susan, my boss, came to me and essentially was like, "Hey, you seem to have a knack for this. Would you be interested in being the system administrator for our ERP system?" Like, absolutely, yeah, let me do that. I took over that role and completely I mean, we did so much. It was very broken, a lot needed to be fixed. We essentially tried to model our new system off of our old system and then realized very far down the line why that was a bad idea, and so we had to break it apart and put it back together, and
Oof.
I was able to yeah, it was rough. I was able to work really closely with my boss at that time and figure those things out. And through that relationship that we had of working close together, I started to understand the back end system of what goes into running a print shop on a much deeper level than I ever had before. And COVID was obviously a very difficult time. During that time, we had to pivot because I knew the system. I was the only person in the shop that could get a job in because we weren't doing print jobs. We started manufacturing face shields during the PPE shortage. And so that was just a very chaotic time. And her and I worked so closely together just to keep things afloat and to get work through the shop to keep our people employed. And so after that, she asked me to be on her leadership team, woman-owned business with a woman-owned leadership team, 5 women, and that was an incredible experience. We all have different backgrounds, we all had different pieces of the business that we were focused on, but we worked really close together, had regular meetings, weekly meetings, quarterly meetings where we really talked about the plans of the organization, what we were working towards, what our goals were, and then actively trying to work through those. And I also at that time was overseeing our admin team. So I was in these 2 roles of an system administrator, but also supervisor over order entry, estimating, purchasing that team. And I loved it. And I was in so many things. I learned about accounting. I learned about manufacturing, estimating. I learned about just things that I just never even imagined that I would be involved in, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about working for a small, locally owned company is I got that opportunity, right? I was curious, I was ready to jump in and help, and that allowed me the opportunity to do all these incredible things that I never foresaw for myself or planned for myself. I'm a person who believes in always continuing to grow, and I had done what I'd set out to do and was looking for something new, and then this opportunity came up. And like I said, I love this company, and I, of course, didn't want to go anywhere. I just needed some growth for myself. And so that's the trajectory of my career here.
That is so interesting because that's a very unusual path to get where you are.
It is. Yeah, it felt unusual.
But you also have now a very unique perspective in that you know exactly how things work. You
It
know
serves me very well. It really does because I think that a lot of salespeople, even if they maybe know a lot about print, it's one thing to know a lot about print. It's another thing to know a lot about the manufacturing process of print. And so I'm able to have very frank and real conversations with my clients about what is feasible, what is possible, what we can pivot and change to in the event of whatever the case is, what maybe more cost effective options are, or have such this like breadth of knowledge from all of the different kind of things that I had my hands in. And it serves me very well in this current role.
And it was interesting too, you said that you were obviously the company is women owned on the women leadership team. What was it like to be part of that?
I think women should just run the world.
I would not argue with that, but
Yeah, no, I think that it was interesting because so I was also the youngest woman on the team, the only one. So it was fascinating to see different people's perspectives. I think we would get really good synergy when we're working through something and discussing things. And even when we had maybe we didn't agree on things, we could discuss them and work through them and come to a resolution. And women have this incredible way of just getting things done. And being in leadership on a team, we got a lot done. And sometimes in business, when you don't stop to look back on the year, the month, whatever, it doesn't feel like it, right? Because you're just caught up and you're just going. And one of my favorite things that we would do every year, we'd have this 2-day annual planning session. And a huge chunk of that time was just spent going over what did we accomplish this last year? And we accomplished so much together. And it really was a special thing that we built. And yeah, it was incredible. I loved every second of it.
which is amazing. And I have to say that's probably the first time I've heard like a team like that within a company. But why is it important for companies or for women in companies like this to have that kind of representation as part of the leadership team? Like you said, you were also the youngest one on there. Why was it so important that you were involved, that it was established in the first place?
I think for me personally, what I brought to the table was more of a fresh perspective because I've been here not as long as everybody else. I think it's important. I think that women are able to process through problems maybe in a different way than men and
Wired very differently.
very differently. And I think that because of the way print is just generally, the industry, the fast pace, the constant kind of like problem solving, I think it's critical for women to be in those rooms. Just from a process standpoint, just from figuring it out, we are able to see paths and solutions that I think men aren't always able to see. And especially that's something that Susan really taught me and my time with her has reinforced is that she always has a solution to something, and I would never bet against her. She can pull miracles out, and she does on a regular basis, and it's incredible to watch, and I think that manufacturing as a whole need more women involved just because we bring such a fresh, different perspective. I think manufacturing is a very linear can be a very, men's thought process a thing, right? But with printing, because it's custom manufacturing, we're not building widgets. We're not doing the same thing over and over again. So you have to be creative about how you find those efficiencies because you're not gonna get them from redundancy in the same way that you would in widget manufacturing. And yeah, I think women just have a way of handling these situations. I don't know if better is the right word, maybe better or just differently,
It's
right?
different.
A different perspective.
Yeah, I know a lot of times when people talk about manufacturing, they think of a car, an auto plant. They're building a car, they're building the same exact car
Mhm,
over and over and over again. So having it in an industrial manufacturing facility, it makes sense. But it's
mhm.
weird that printing is also technically manufacturing, but it's custom manufacturing.
Right.
So it is completely different in terms of what is done and how it can be done.
Mhm. Absolutely. And that's where I feel like it lends itself so well to women in leadership because it is so different.
Mhm.
You have to constantly willing to pivot and adjust, and we do.
Yeah.
We do really well.
And change is hard. And if you're changing now on a daily basis because it's different ways to do things, you're looking for different solutions, you have to be flexible. There's no other way to go about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you always have to be willing to adjust, and I think that especially in our roles as mothers and juggling all the things that we have to do in not just with our work, but at home, we're just accustomed to that. And you just do it without even thinking, right? You're just going, you're just checking things off the list and getting it done and figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, definitely. So, as we're wrapping up, my favorite question, and the one that I always end with, is knowing what you know now. So, your history, your whole journey through Dumont and in the printing industry, if you were starting out today, fresh faced, brand new, all kinds of shiny, what advice would you give yourself?
I would tell myself to always stay curious and know that you belong in every room that you are in.
Good advice. Why the curious? I'm curious.
I think that I've gotten to where I am in life because of my curiosity, and it can be very easy to want to just settle in what's comfortable. And life is lived where it's uncomfortable. And so curiosity pushes you into that and also opens doors that you otherwise wouldn't find.
I think it's good advice either way.
Thank you.
Amanda, it was a pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you for taking a little bit of time to talk about what you've been through and your journey in print. I really appreciated it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to celebrate and amplify the voices of women in the printing industry. If you have a story to share or know someone whose journey deserves to be highlighted, we'd love to hear from you. Together, let's continue inspiring and empowering the next generation of leaders. Until next time, keep leaving your imprint. This is Her Imprint. See you soon.